After a while, we started looking at grant programs, local, state, and our friends have given us grants over the course of the years. And the two major ones that I want to talk about are Read to Me, which is still funded by our local First Five, Santa Cruz County First Five. And we have Stories to Tell, which started out as a program that was funded by the California State Library English Language Literacy Intensive Program, ELLI, E-L-L-I. And so I guess I'll start. I've got these brochures, and you're welcome to take any when you come. I've got a Read to Me brochure. It's in English that way, and if you turn it over, it's Léemelo in Spanish. And I have a We Have Stories to Tell brochure that tells a little bit about them, but I would, welcome you to take those when we're finished. Read to Me came about partly because we were involved with the they've changed the name so many times, Children and Families Commission, which was the precursor of First Five in Santa Cruz County. When they were planning, I don't know how much you know about the First Five money, but it's on the cigarette tax on the state of California. It was Prop 10, and there are funds from the state, and then each county has their own funds, which are generated, well, they're generated through the sales tax on cigarettes, but they're divided up. They're divided up by population in the county. And so each county is able to decide how they're going to spend those funds within their county. And Santa Cruz County had a long period of decision making and getting information from the community. And so as a representative from the library, was able to take part in those early discussions about how they were going to spend the money, what they were going to spend it on. And they decided on 3 different strands, and one of them is early literacy. So we were able, as a library, to get in on the first round of when they called for applications for grants. And our Read to Me program is a program that serves home daycare providers of children 0 to 5, because that's the age range for First Five. And we targeted this group because they serve a lot of people in Santa Cruz County. A great many of the children in Santa Cruz County who are in child care before they go to school are with home daycare providers. And these people work very long hours. Some of them are available for drop-off at 6 in the morning, and they don't pick up some of the other children until 6:30 or 7 at night. So they have very long hours. They're very isolated. They can't often get out with their groups of children because of the seatbelt laws. Because you have to, you've got 6 kids, 6 car seats is really hard, and these kids all have to be in car seats. So they're very isolated, they're very dedicated, and they don't get paid very much. So this was a group we targeted, and what we did was we set up, well, now we have over 400 kits. Each kit has about 10 books, some activities that you can do, like a felt story or a puppet, or sometimes we'll have picture packets. We're going away from those now. They have books on tape or CD, and music CDs or tapes, in order to use and our group of librarians take them out to the home daycare provider, do a short story time while you're there, and then leave the kit for a month and go back in a month and pick it up. So it gives it's a resource for the home daycare provider. We serve thousands of children through this because, you know, every year they have different kids in their daycare. And we have been a resource for the providers. We've answered hundreds of reference questions about any number of topics that the daycare providers would probably have struggled to get answered otherwise. Now, the program is changing. We're no longer doing monthly visits because our funding stream has changed and a lot of things have changed. But we will be still circulating the kits through our library circulation system, and they'll be available to the home daycare providers and preschool teachers starting next month, probably. And we will still continue to do some in-home provider visits, story times. They'll just probably be on a quarterly basis rather than a monthly basis. And we'll encourage the providers to get together so that if they, you know, 3 or 4 live in the same area, they can get together and a librarian can come and do a story time for them. Or if a couple of them live close to a branch, they can take their children to a branch for a story time. And so it's a program that continues. It's a program that has changed to meet the needs of the providers, and a program that has changed to meet the needs of the library as our funding sources and our staffing needs change. Then We Have Stories to Tell was a program that we got funded by the state library, Ellie, and Janice can show you here. This is a link from our library website, and it goes to a random page. We have 5 books that were completed by children and adults and scanned and put on our website. It has information about the authors, the titles, and the project. And basically, We Have Stories to Tell is a project where children and adults tell family stories. Then they write them down and they illustrate them, and we make a color copy, and they bind them into a book that looks like this, hardcover book. This one happens to be one that I wrote last year. We encourage all of the people who help with the project, the adults, to write their books as well, because there's great satisfaction in doing it, and we realized that when the children did it. But as we're going into our 5th year of the program, and more adults who help with the program write their stories each year, and they just get so excited and so into it. In fact, last year we did the program entirely with a group of adults, one group of adults. We went back to the English language learners that we had sort of gotten away from since we didn't have any grant money and we didn't have to fulfill those requirements of the grant anymore. And we had been working with a group of Even Start families in our area, and we went back to them and worked with the adults that were in the ESL class, and I think 10 of them wrote and illustrated and published their own books about their family stories. And most of them did bilingual books. Several of them did Spanish only, and or actually only one did Spanish only, but hers was a novel. I mean, it was much longer than anybody else's book, and she promises that she's going to translate it. She's very, she's one of those people who is very confident speaking English, but writing it is much more difficult for her. And but it's very exciting. And then at the end of the 10 or 12 week program, we always schedule it so that it ends with the Student Author Fair, which is a county-wide program that they've been doing for 25 years or so. And they bring books and bookmaking projects from the schools all over Santa Cruz County together at the Capitola Mall and display them. And they have an author's seat chair, which is very exciting. When the children who've written their books, they can say, well, I want to read my book from the author's chair, and they get up there and read their book with a microphone, and it's very exciting. We had one year we did the program at one of our branches and ended up with homeschool families doing it. So the kids wrote the books. One mom actually wrote a book as well, but the kids wrote their books and their parents were their mentors in helping them write and illustrate the books. And it turns out that this particular group of homeschool families almost never got to downtown Santa Cruz, let alone to Capitola, to the Capitola Mall, which is where the author fair is held. And so they made a big day of it, and they came, several families came for the whole day to the mall and to the fair, and the children from that group who read their stories aloud from the author's chair were just delightful. We were so proud of them because they knew how to read a book. I can't do it very well because I've got this broken arm, but they held their books up like this. And one little boy said, well, the woman who was helping wanted him to hold the microphone. He says, no, you've got to hold the microphone for me. I need two hands to do this. And so they did this, and then they read aloud, and then they showed pictures. We were so proud because not only had they written, illustrated, and bound their books, they'd learned from all of us doing story times all those years how to present them. So it's a really fun program, and we're continuing those partnerships. We worked with students from UCSC. We worked with adults at senior residential centers, and we'll continue to do that. We've worked with children at farm labor communities. We've worked with one entire third grade class. They all wrote books. And we've worked three out of the 4 years that we've done, we've worked with children from New Horizons School for homeless and disadvantaged children. And those are all those partnerships and cooperative ventures that we've taken advantage of and used to benefit both the partner and us and the library, and collaborating with them. This coming year, starting in February, we're going to be we have Stories to Tell one more time, and we're going to be doing it as a family program at the Museum of Art and History. So this is another partner that we're collaborating with to do programs. We're very excited about that because their volunteers that from the university are all art and art history majors. And so we can focus on the writing and the storytelling, but we're hoping that these volunteers will be able to give us and the participants more insight into the actual illustrating of your story. So it's a branching out for us that way. I've mentioned a lot of our community partners. Many of them I met that first few months when I was going to the Beach Flats providers meetings once a month. And then others are places that have evolved through our bookmobile stops, when places that we go with our bookmobile. We have a good relationship with Mid-Peninsula Housing, which is the nonprofit corporation that has many of the low-income housing areas in Santa Cruz County. And as they get new sites, we get new partners. We work with each of their different staffs separately and there. We've been working with New Horizons School since the very beginning of outreach in Santa Cruz libraries, and that has been a great relationship because we've gotten not only to meet a lot of wonderful children and families, but we've gotten to help them become comfortable in the library and using the library as a resource. We have one of the groups that we went to almost from the very beginning and did programs is a farm labor community called Jardines del Valle. And I had to stop doing programming there. The bookmobile still went, but about 4 years ago I had to stop doing programming there because of some budget constraints. And up until that time, I had taken a group of children from Jardines on a shopping trip every year to spend their summer reading dollars. When you participate in summer reading in Santa Cruz, you get summer reading dollars for certain amounts of reading. And we have probably 50 or 60 merchants in the county who honor these dollars as real money, and the kids can spend them. And from the merchant's point of view, rarely does a child go in and spend only the $3 that they'll honor. They usually buy more. But for this particular group, we had several merchants who would put out tables that everything on the table would be available for their 3 summer reading dollar limit or whatever the limit was. And they really went out of their way to make those good sale prices for the kids. So we have partners in the community who do programming, but we also have partners in the community who are merchants who, and our summer reading program is done in conjunction with the newspaper, the Sentinel. So it's another kind of partner that we reach out to and work in the community with. But anyway, I wasn't able to do the shopping trip with this particular group of kids one year, and they were so upset. And the bookmobile continued to go, and they kept saying, well, when is Jeannie going to take us shopping? Why, what happened? And so I said, well, tell them that I can't do it this year, but next year, if they meet the requirements, which was earn at least 17 summer reading dollars, and the 20 is the maximum, so a lot of kids did that, I'll take them. So they held me to it. I mean, as soon as they signed up for summer reading that year, now, Jeannie's really going to take us shopping this year, isn't she? Yes, she is. And so we arranged the shopping trip. This year we took 17 kids. We had to get a different. We had to bring someone in on her day off to drive because we didn't have enough seats in all the vehicles to drive people, and it's just a great day for all of us. The kids live in South County. They rarely get to come up to Santa Cruz. That's where most of the merchants are who honor the coupons, the summer reading dollars. So it's outreach from the library, it's outreach from the community, it's it builds relationships in all sorts of directions, and that's a lot of what outreach is about.